Okay, we are open up to page 817 and 818 to correct last night's math homework. We had numbers 1 through 5 and 7. So here is page 817. Now, you should have the same numbers in the table. However, your answer for number 2 may be different from what my book said. So, in our table, Becky started with 75 apples picked, and she picked she picked 20 more apples each hour. Then Anton has started with 63 apples. He also picked 20 more apples each hour. So Becky, we should have 75, then 95, 115, 135, 155, and 175. Then for Anton, we started with 63, then we should have written 83, 103, 123, 143, and 163. Are there any questions with filling out that table? Okay. Give me a thumbs up on if you did well with filling in the table. All right, if you got those correct. Awesome. Now for number 2, it said, what relationship do you notice between how many apples Becky has picked and how many apples Anton has picked at the end of each hour? Explain. So my book said at the end of each hour, Becky always has picked 12 more apples than Anton. Becky had picked 12 more apples by noon, and they each picked the same number of apples each hour after noon. Did anyone also mention how Becky had picked 12 more apples than Anton? Nice. That's the relationship we see. They start at 75 and 63, and since they're both picking 20 apples each hour, the difference between their numbers never changes. Now, let's say Becky picked 20 apples every hour. What if Anton started picking 22 apples every hour? Then would the difference between them change each hour? Yes, but they started at different points, and since they both picked 20 apples, they just both increased the same amount each hour. So their difference never actually changed. Other questions on number 2? Okay, so then we have number 3. So number 3, Susie had received 9 text messages when she turned her phone on. She received 15 text messages each hour after that. Victor had received 27 messages when he turned his phone on. He received 15 text messages each hour after that. So for Susie, after the first hour, we should have written 24, then 39, 54, and 69. For Victor, the first hour, 42, then 57, 72, 87. Jack P., please leave your name tag alone. How do we feel with filling in the table? How do we do with that? Okay, awesome. Then for number 4, it asks, what relationship do you notice between the total number of text messages each person had received after each hour? No, we're correcting homework, so not right now. So my book said Victor always had 18 more messages. He started with 18 more messages and received the same number each hour as Susie. Did anyone else mention that Victor always had 18 more messages than Susie? Yeah? Awesome. Awesome. Yep. So when they're asking about the relationship between them, you're basically looking at okay, at the end, Susie had 69 messages, Victor had 87. What's the difference between them? What's the relationship? Or did maybe sometimes you might see, well, Susie started with less, but maybe by the end of it, she got more. That would be another relationship you notice. So looking at the relationship of the numbers or the patterns with the numbers. Any questions on number 3 or 4? Philip?
On 4,
yes.
I said there's 16 parts, so then what they ended with is 16 what they started with.
Nice. Yep, that's another great observation. Yep, good pattern. Okay. Awesome. Then we had number 5. So number 5 said, Mr. Kim has a pitcher that contains 16 cups of juice. How many 1/3 cup servings are in 16 cups? So we would have taken 16 cups and divided it by 1/3 because we want to see how many 1/3 cups we can get out of it. So we would keep 16 over 1, change the division symbol to multiplication, and flip 1/3 to 3 over 1. So it's basically 16 over 1 times 3 over 1, or 16 times 3, which gets us 48. And they didn't add their unit. You should have said 48 1/3 cup servings. Kind of a long unit there. Questions on number 5? Okay. And then we had number 7. So for number 7, Brian and Christina started keeping track of their workouts. Brian did 85 sit-ups the first week and 90 sit-ups each week after that. Christina did 65 sit-ups the first week and 90 sit-ups each week after that. How many sit-ups will each person have done after 5 weeks? So I noticed that some of you created your own table, which was awesome, off to the side to keep track. You marked where Brian and Christina started, and then you created your own table showing, how their number of sit-ups increased every week. So by the end of it, by the 5th week, or after 5 weeks, Brian completed 445 sit-ups. Christina completed 425 sit-ups. Questions on number 7. All right, show me on your hand 1 through 5. Overall, how did you feel about this homework assignment? 1 through 5. How do we feel? Awesome. Okay, awesome. All right, what I'd like you to do, open up to the next clean page in your math notebook.